Welcome to the video. My name is Steven. In this video, I'm going to be talking about why you continue to fail at things or whatever it is that you're failing at and why you clicked on this video. Maybe it's business, maybe it's school, maybe it's life, whatever it is, why you continue to fail. In this video, I'm going to be explaining all that. Just want to put this out there. There's not going to be a bunch of crap all over the screen trying to make you pay attention because odds are you need to pay attention to this and you need to use the knowledge that I'm about to give you and go use it in your life. If you're paying attention to all this random crap and edits all over the screen, then you're not paying attention to what I'm talking about. So hopefully this lesson really helps you out. And let's go ahead and get started. By the way, I just want to put this out there. This comes from James Clear, Atomic Habits. And it also comes from a bit from Alex Hormozi. So I'm going to draw a graph here. And on this graph, our axes are two things. This one is time. This one is emotion. And I'm going to try to write this sideways. Yo, I'm kind of crushing this. So this is your emotional stage, right? When you are starting a business, when you are starting something new, when you're doing some form of activity, correct? So up here is where we start. This point right here, this is called uninformed optimism, right? So I'm going to write that. Uninformed. And I hope you can see that. Let me make sure you can see that before I continue. Yes. Okay, you can't see that. Let me scoot the camera just a little bit closer. All right. So this is where you start. This is the starting point with anything, right? And then, and I want to actually make this very, very clear, right? Here, this line, this dotted line, is the mid ground between optimistic and pessimistic, right? So let's get rid of this. And I think that's how you spell that. I don't know. It might be an I right here. Pessimistic, optimistic, right? On this side, you're happy. This side, you're not happy. So what happens from this first line is you start to come down to this second little part right here. After you've tried things out, right? Say we're starting a business, right? And you think that, well, I've heard everywhere online that I can just start a drop shipping store and I can start selling my own products and people are going to buy it and everything's going to be great. So you open up your store and then no one's buying. You wonder why. And you're like, oh, I need to drive traffic to my store. So how do I drive traffic to my store? Well, I could do DM marketing. So you start DMing everybody and their mom, asking them to come buy your product. And here's the thing. Nobody wants to fucking buy, and your DM sucks, and nobody really cares about you. So, over time, right, here's time, you start to drop down to here. This is where you are. And what this is called, this is informed pessimism. That's what this is, right? This point right here, this is informed pessimism, right? Now, after that, shit goes even worse because shit never goes as planned. And you actually come down here. And this is what James Clear would call the valley of despair. And actually, he's not just talking about this dot right here, but actually this area in the middle, because the next dot is up here. This area right here is the valley of despair. And what's interesting about the valley of despair is actually that the valley of despair can last a lot longer than you thought it was going to last. Because from here to here, this could only last a week. However, from here to here and then back up to here, this can last 5 years. And see, what's interesting is a lot of times we don't expect it to take that long because you never got into it originally thinking that, like, okay, if I go to the gym and then I work out, after 3 months, I'll be fit. That's what I thought. And now I'm 2 years in and I'm like, I'm fat. That's how I feel, even though I probably shouldn't feel that way. But that's the valley of despair. Because after a while, shit hits the fan and you're going to continue to get shit on right in this little area. This here is informed optimism, right? And remember, we're just talking emotions here. I'm going to pull up the results chart in just a little bit. This is informed optimism. And this is this last point is success. And notice how it's not a point because it continues to go forward, right? So this is the emotion over time graph. Now I want to show you again, not again, but I want to show you the other graph I want to talk about that really depicts the valley of despair. And I like this one a lot more because it's a lot less technical. We have another scale. This is results killed that shit again. Look at that. And time. Marker's fading. I'm going to grab this black one, this blue one, blue marker. And this is what we expect to have happen whenever we start a journey on something, right? This is what we expect to happen. We expect things to start from here and progressively move up this way. These are our expectations, right? Now, on the other, what actually happens, this is what really happens, is it's exponential. It's an exponential line instead of a linear line, which is usually what we expect when we start something. So here's the interesting part. This is where James Clear calls the Valley of Despair. And see, it's exactly the same, but it's two different. Is that right? That's not right. Despair. It is. It is an E. Sorry. I have it written in my notes right here. All right. Valley of Despair. So this is the Valley of Despair. And again, it takes a very long time for you to feel good about your situation because the Valley of Despair can last for years and years and years. Now, if we were to go ahead and draw those points from the other graph, they would be like right here would be informed pessimism. And then, informed optimism would be here. Uninformed optimism, uninformed optimism would be here. Well, I'll just put UO, so uninformed optimism. Informed pessimism would be right here. The Valley of Despair is all here, and then you get to like right about here, where that informed optimism begins, and success is up here. And here's the funny part. Look at the level of difference between all of these stages. Look at all this, like right here it's very short, up here it's relatively short, but then you have all this time. All of this area up in here is the shit you're going to have to go through. And what's interesting about this, if we're going back to the last graph, I know I keep erasing and showing stuff, but I hope this makes sense. I hope this really helps out. If we go back to the last graph, let me show you exactly what happens to 99% of people, including probably yourself, and this is why you're here. So here's time. Here is emotions. You start up here with your new business idea. Let's say drop shipping is a business idea. You start up here with uninformed optimism. Then you come down here. Let's draw the emotional line again. You come down here to informed pessimism, which is the second dot. And then you reach the Valley of Despair. Right? Here's the interesting part. Valley of Despair lasts for a very long time, as you saw from the last graph. So what 99% of people do is as soon as they get here to this Valley of Despair, they cut the rest of it. All the other part that was supposed to go up like this, and they start over with a new vehicle. They try to start a SaaS product. Just like this, and then bam, it doesn't work out. So what happens? They do the same thing with Bitcoin. Sure, whatever, right? They try to get into Bitcoin. And they continue to do this every single time. And that's what happens. So over time, you have completed, because look at this. Like when you actually complete something, completion occurs once you get past this line and you become successful, whatever that means to you. But here's the thing. It doesn't happen easily, right? Like it takes time to do that thing. So you keep fucking going down like this. This never happens. And you stay constant. So if you look at like your entire life, here's time. First of all, your emotions are way up and down all the time. Here's your life. This is your timeline of your life. And this is how you stay. Whereas someone more successful, their timeline, and I hope you can see this. Let me make sure you can see this graph. Yes, someone more successful, their life looks like this. Exponential. And over time, it's going to take you a while to get to where you want to go, to get to that spot in the road, to get over those bumps and to actually get where you need to go. But most people aren't willing to do that. They're not willing to wait right here in this valley of despair where shit sucks, where shit hits the fan, where you don't know what's going to happen. They're not willing to go through that hardship. They just want to keep switching boats and switching boats and switching boats. And so my advice to you is, if you can't succeed, if you feel like you're not succeeding, it's because you haven't waited enough time and you haven't done the things required. So look at this right here, right? You're down here and there's a whole other direction you're supposed to go, yet you want to quit right here when the going gets tough. And the thing is, when the going gets tough, that's when you really figure out who the fuck you are. Because nobody else is going to come fucking put their hand on your shoulder and say, hey man, everything's okay. It's not your fault. Don't worry about it. You'll get over it. Everyone loves you and cares about you. No one's going to come over here and say that. Or no one's going to pick up the weight for you, right? No one's going to start the business for you and then give you the money. You have to do it yourself. And that's what determines who you really are. So if you can't stop for a second and realize that the path you're going on will work if you just continue to spend time on that thing, then you're in a lot of trouble. But I hope in this video I was able to make it clear that if you can stick to the vehicle and stick to one graph, because I know I just erased it, I probably shouldn't have erased it, but I had 3 different things here, and you keep jumping ship over and over and over again, but if you stick in one boat and then you continue to take it for years and years and years, because guess what? You're going to run into the same problem every single time in the new business, right? You're going to come down here, you're going to quit, and then you're going to come back up here, and you're going to quit. You're going to, like I showed you before. Except here's the thing. You're going to run into the same fucking problems. You can't sell your service. You can't sell your service. You can't sell your service. The problem is that the business isn't shitty. It's that you don't have the skills required to do something important. To do something to do something that would help you out and get you past that. And your thought process might be, well, if I just jump ships, I'll be able to get to where I want to get to faster. When in reality, you're going to continue to come down here because you haven't learned the lesson yet. So, and this isn't like I wasn't going to tell you some like crazy magic trick on like how to get better. I just wanted to make this video for you to understand where and why you get stuck and how to fix it. The way to fix it is to continue doing the thing. And if you're struggling, my best advice is to ask yourself what you would do to not achieve the best results. So, say for example, you're in a business and you're having problems selling your service. So, what are all the things I could do to ensure no one buys my service? Well, I could have a crappy website. I could not do any outreach. I could not put any posts on social media so people know I exist. Let's just stick to those 3 for right now, right? So no website, not reaching out to people, not posting on social media, just invert that. So I should reach out to people. I should post on social media, and I should have a website, a really good website. And here's the thing. You need to spend time developing each one of those things and getting better at those things, right? Your first cold call is not going to go great. But if you can put a number behind it, right? Like I'll spend 30 minutes a day working on my website. I know that's a lot, but if you like set up the website and then get it done, right? The worst thing you can do is be like, oh, I've been working on my website for months. Get the website made, get it done, it's over with, right? Put the landing page up 2 hours, 3 hours, but work on it, right? And make it look good. And the same thing goes for the cold calls and for posting pictures. You need to put a number behind those things, how long you're going to spend on them, right? So here, like, let's just run over it really quickly, right? If you do 100, actually, this is another thing you can do too. You can compare yourself to other people in your niche or in your business and just do double what they're doing. So if business A is doing 100 calls, 100 DMs, and they're posting 7 days a week, 7 posts per week. And these are per day, right? So you, and actually let me go ahead and change the marker here. You should probably do double what these people are doing. Because guess what? Business A is bringing in what? 150K a month? And you're bringing in $0? Because if you're bringing in zero, this is you, like this is your position, this is you and like your idea, right? You have your idea, and you are making $0 a month. That's it. Like that's where you are. Or maybe you have like your service, right? Like I have my SaaS product, or I have my mobile detailing service, right? Well, what could you do that business A is doing? Reflect on what your competitor is doing. All right, they're doing 100 calls, 100 DMs, 7 posts a week. So you can do 200 calls and 200 DMs, and you can do 14 posts a week. And it's not going to get you to 150K a month as fast as them, but maybe it'll take you to 5K a month. And now you've just figured out why the fuck you're failing. It's like you're not making enough cold calls, you're not doing enough work, you're not doing the right work. And I guess I'm going to have one more little rant in this video too. You want to figure out the right work to be doing? Let's do this together. And I actually had a mentor of mine bring this up pretty recently. And this guy's doing, I think like $500,000 a year. I really don't know. But he said he got it from his mentor, who's doing way more than that. But he asked me on a call, he said, what could you do to 2x your business? So 2x business, what are some things I can do? I was like, I can make more calls. I can talk to more people. I can post more on social media, right? Kind of just how I said before, right? And then he said, well, what can you do to 10x your business? I was like, well, I can work harder. Oh, that was another thing too for the 2x. And I thought it was kind of a trick question. So my response was just do 10 times the amount, right? 10 times volume. So instead of doing for the 2 times, it's like all this stuff is 2 times. But for the 10 times, I thought I could just do all that stuff, but 10 times as much. And he looked at me like I was stupid. He was like, bro, what the heck is your problem? That's not how you do that. He said, figure out the 70% of stuff, or maybe it was 80. It probably was 80, because you know the 80-20 rule. He said, figure out the 80% of stuff you can outsource. And when I say outsource, I'm not talking about like your buddy down the street who needs a job. I'm talking about Indonesia. You can go on Fiverr and you can find people from foreign countries that are willing to work $100 a week for them to do 80% of the fucking hard work and heavy lifting in your business. They're willing $100 a week. And I have employees in foreign countries that do this, right? And then you outsource 80%, and then you do the 20% that matters. And what's the 20% that matters? Well, let's look at this. If I can get another guy to do this, and this, and this, and like, really the one thing that needs to get done is sales calls, right? I need to make sales calls. So if I can get someone else to handle all of this, this is literally actually 80%. This is 80% of the crap. So I can get them to make calls, talk to other people, put posts on social media, and to work really hard for me. I can do the 20% that matters, which is sales calls. And here's the thing, if I do a bunch of sales calls, I close a bunch of clients. So say, for example, I make a bunch of sales calls, and after those sales calls, I make 10 grand. I make 10 grand for my sales calls. Well, now I need to deliver my service to I need to deliver my services to my new closes, my new customers. So what do? I take 2 grand and I use that to outsource the stuff that I needed to get done, right? So I take 2 grand of that, go over to Indonesia, and I say, I need a media buyer. I get someone to come do the media stuff, and then I get someone to post all the ads on Facebook or to post all the ads on Google. I hire an expert who has years of experience, right? Because with outsourcing, you're buying years of experience. So you can get plus 20 years of experience by outsourcing than just fucking sitting in your room making cold calls all fucking day by yourself. So that's what you need to know. I hope that really helped you out. That was a big deep dive. I didn't, there was no like plan to this. I just kind of wanted to show you a couple things, the graphs on, the valley of despair and how to get out of it. The point is to keep pushing always, to keep doing the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it, to keep doing the things that need to get done and outsource things that you can. And you can do that with sales calls. Sit there for the first week or two, make your fucking calls, do the hard nitty gritty work. And then as soon as you can, take some of that money and send it to someone else. And I know this works for internet business, but if you're a brick and mortar business or if you're a local business, you can still hire employees for relatively cheap. I mean, you can find an employee, you can find some kid 15, 16 years old that's willing to work $8 an hour, 4 days a week, and do some of the nitty gritty work for you, right? While you take care of the 20% of stuff that matters. So after this video, I would recommend you go and write down a list of everything that needs to get done in your company. Pick the 20% of things that matter. If you have money to, go check out Fiverr. Go check out Indeed. Actually, fuck Indeed. Go to Fiverr and find someone from Indonesia that you can outsource your work to, if you can do that. Or find, hell, your cousin, your neighbor, if you're a local business. But if you're an online business, you can go outsource half your crap to someone on Fiverr. I promise you, it's the cheapest thing. It's the best investment you'll ever make. And then focus on the 20% that matters. And after that, you shouldn't see any problems. Oh, and again, don't fucking switch boats. Don't switch vehicles. You're in the right vehicle, so stay in it. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope that really helped you out. And if it does, please leave a comment. Let me know. I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Stop scrolling through social media because it prevents you from winning.